Well, hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of Van Life Living in New York. Today's Memorial Day, and I was talking to a service member in my family today, and I said, "Thank you for your service." And he said, "Memorial Day is for the fallen. That's Veterans Day." So he corrected me on that. Well, when I was out here, and I did mention to him that I worked in, because I did work in mental health, that many of the people that came back in the flesh died in the spirit, and they remain dead, and they're on our streets, right? They've had to do things that in war that they couldn't live with, and they don't know Jesus like I do, so they don't believe they can find forgiveness, right? So I love to help those folks, but I can only do what my Father gives me to do, and I did help some of them when I could, and now I'm here doing what I'm doing now. Well, I'll tell you what, when we think of honoring the fallen, I think about the fallen that fell for Christ too, right? Because I'm a Christian, and that makes me God's child. And well, as much as everybody wants to not hear this, every person on this planet is a child of God. We have, for instance, I'm just going to give you this dilemma, because this is what Christians don't understand. Most Christians don't know Jesus, and they also are ignorant to what's going on in the world. They're being fed this lie that they think is the truth, and this snowball is getting ready to create a major disaster here in the world. And because right now, I've been telling you, and I'm sure hoping some of you are telling others, because it's important, that in John chapter 12, 44 to 50, Jesus clearly tells you it is his words that are going to judge you on the last day. So that means he said that by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. So those that stood on the steps of the temple, and they wouldn't let you enter the kingdom, and they wouldn't enter either, Jesus said that those people would pay the greater debt. So if you're proclaiming Jesus with your lips, but your heart is far from him, I highly suggest you get a red letter edition of the Bible and discover the truth of what Jesus said and meant, because if you don't, it's going to be a very hard end of the age here for you, because you're getting ready to come into a dilemma. You have all these people in America that are saying support Ukraine, but what they don't know is Bill Clinton broke the treaty that was made with Russia that said that we would not allow NATO into the old Soviet states. And most Americans do not know that we now have 2 missile bases in the old Soviet states, and we have put Russia in the same thing we were in during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So Russia actually tolerated it for far longer than I even suspected they would, right? So I'm not saying that Russia's right in all this, because they're not. But I'm telling you, NATO and America is just as guilty as Putin. So that everybody's blaming everybody because nobody's looking at the truth. And it's called a bunch of evil folks that have a lot of money, and they're planning on killing you off. And people don't want to look at that. So World War III is coming. And as this words of Christ show up, and people start really realizing it is the end of the age and that they have to follow Christ, not the world, well, they're going to find themselves in a dilemma. I think of like Bonhoeffer, because you all are going to end up exactly like Bonhoeffer did, right? You're going to have a decision to make, but he wasn't at the end of the age, you are. And I don't care what decision you make, I just want you to be aware that you as a Christian are about to make a decision, whether you know it or not. And if you don't know Christ, you're going to make the wrong decision. You can go read Christ for yourself and see if he told you what the church is saying, because I'm telling you, they're liars and thieves, right? They talk with half tongues. They're a bunch of serpents. Because Jesus, they say that Jesus said you could kill, which is an absolute farce lie, and that's the absolute truth. When Jesus said it was not a time for peace, but to pick up your money belt and swords, what happened was they put 2 swords on the table, and Jesus said that was enough. Did you notice that it said that he was listed with the transgressors? It was prophesied. So he was actually fulfilling the scripture by having them put those two swords on the table. And anybody in their right mind that understands Jesus, if he was trying to arm two, he would have wanted to arm all 11, and he didn't. He told them two was enough because he only needed one in Peter's hand, which I've told you over and over on why that was. Because when Jesus hung on the cross, he said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." And his last act of free will was to heal the man that came to whip, beat, and crucify him. Jesus did everything by example. He told you to give your gifts in secret. When he healed people, he said, "Shh, don't tell anybody, go give your gifts as required, and then go home." Right? He didn't tell people to go tell everybody he was there. He wasn't glorifying himself. Now, when you're raising the dead and healing the sick and making the blind see, you're obviously, people are going to rat on you, friend. It just is what it is. So, he did all that, but he told him to do it in secret. So that was the example. He was giving you the example of him saying, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do," on the cross. And the other thing is, because Peter did it, Peter would have went to the cross, but because Jesus healed the man's ear, he gave Peter forgiveness by healing his transgression, because they couldn't accuse Peter of it if the man was healed, because the Pharisees were trying to kill him, not create more miracles in the testimony, right? So you have to understand that the church doesn't look at anything. They will give you, I listen to serpents all the time wiggle half a tongue. They justify this stuff. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you to go read Jesus and see if what I'm saying makes sense. If you don't believe me, you can call me a liar, friend, but you better sure be ready to testify to Christ exactly how it was that you know I'm a liar and you know it's the truth, because it is the absolute only place that he talked about picking up swords. He always told everybody that they had to turn the other cheek. He told them that all these things, friend. I mean, he said he didn't come to bring peace but a sword, but did the apostles ever hurt anybody? Only Peter the once, right? All the rest of the times, once Christ was resurrected, they all died. They weren't killing, friend. I hope you're making sense of what that man said, because it's all there. But Jesus himself said, "I will speak in parables so they don't understand. They will be forever hearing and not hear. They will be forever seeing and not perceiving." I tell you, friend, the church is the blind leading the blind. They know nothing except for those that do. And those that do aren't out glorifying themselves. They're in the basements of churches, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and visiting the sick and in prison. You want to find the people with the kingdom? That's where to find them. That's where I found them. I went to church after church and found nothing but hypocrisy till I found them in the basements. And I wasn't even going to church at the time. I'd given up on church. I'd given up on God. I was working in the mental health field, but all these folks that were not only mentally ill, they were also poor, without clothes and without food. So I had to start helping them find food, clothing, and such. And when I did, I found all the wonderful people that I was looking for, but they aren't sitting in the churches glorifying themselves, saying how wonderful they are. They're out helping people, right? And they're giving their gifts in secret. So even when I was sitting in church with them, I didn't know who they were. Turns out their whole congregation probably doesn't know that they are the most Christ-like people ever. But hey, you know, it is what it is. So I'm hoping that you're going to go read Jesus and do what he asked and build your house on a rock. Because if not, your house is going to fall in this upcoming storm. Because a lot of people are going to have to make a lot of decisions when the church goes on the threshing floor. Because he told you he was going to roll a tribulator over it, which separates the wheat from the chaff, right? Then he takes the winnowing fork, throws it up in the air, and then the wind blows the chaff away and the wheat falls back down to the threshing floor. That's the Father's crop, right? The spirits of love. Because only the spirits of love are going to manage to fall back on the floor. You understand that, right? Spirits of selfishness, they're going to blow away with the chaff. Guaranteed. The moment they end up in the tribulator rolls over them. So I'm just telling you the truth, but you don't have to believe me. I'm just telling you to go read Jesus and see if what I'm saying hasn't been true all along. Because those are the words that are going to judge you at the last day. So those of you that think you're righteous and call yourselves saints are in for a huge disappointment, because many of you are the chaff that are going to blow away. Jesus himself said, call no man teacher, he's your teacher. So I call no man teacher. I call him my teacher. He said a student is not greater than his teacher. It's enough to be like him. Well, he was the least. He said he was the least among us. He's the least for selfishness, the least for the world, the most for love, the most for the Father, right? He told you that to be great in the kingdom, you have to be your brother's servant. And to be greatest in the kingdom, you have to be a slave to all. Is my Father the greatest in his own kingdom? I tell you he is. It's the whole reason he gave Abraham a promise. He's going to make all these judgments according to the law. Even though you Christians think he's not a lawyer, I tell you he is. Those 10 commandments were written in stone with God's finger. They went inside of the ark. The laws of Moses were written in the book of Moses, and they were put on the outside of the ark. The ones inside of the ark are going to be the one that judge you. At the end of the age, I highly recommending you're wearing my Father's seal on your forehead, right? What does a government seal contain? Name, title, territory. My Father is maker of heaven and earth, right? Name, title, territory. So you might want to go investigate this. Don't believe me, right? I'm always telling you never believe me. Go actually do what you say you know, and that is go read Christ and see what he said. He told you he didn't come to remove not one jot or tittle from the law. He was talking about the law he wrote, and that is the 10 commandments. However, he was not going to hold you accountable to it till the end of the age, because the Pope stole the Bible from you, and he lied to you like the biggest serpent ever, and told you he had the right to change God's laws. It's right in their writings. Go listen to America to Babylon. They show you all this in print, right? So here's the facts, friend. I wear my Father's seal. Am I perfect at it? I am not. He said to do it in the spirit of love. So I live with people that nobody believes it, right? And so therefore, on the Sabbath day, I do wash dishes. It's the only job I really do on that day, because if I don't, my mother has to, and therefore, instead of doing my part, I make someone else do my part, and therefore, nobody's getting rest out of that. I'm just being selfish, and then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing in the spirit of love. God told me that, through Christ, that if my donkey was tied, would I not undo it and let it drink? If it fell in a well, would I not go get it out even on the Sabbath? So I'm not going to make my mother that I help take care of wash dishes on Sabbath day, because I refuse to do it in the spirit of selfishness, when if I do it, it's the spirit of love. So I'm never talking about following Christianity. I'm talking about following the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth that dwells in you. And if you don't know it, it's because you don't know Christ inside out, upside down, and backwards. And I highly suggest at this hour that you do that, right? So I'm a person that thinks. I'm not a smart man. I'll be quite honest with you. You can go figure that out for yourself. They had me in special reading class in 2nd grade. I've never been a great reader, but I can read Jesus. I used to sit around and figure him out in the woods, even when I could barely read the words. I'm a little better reader now because I've done a little more of it, including what Jesus said. But let me tell you that it doesn't take a smart man, it takes a dedicated man. You have to go like a child, because if you don't go like a child, you're going to have listened to all these men that got degrees from men. I'm not asking you to listen to them or me. I'm asking you to get a red letter edition of the Bible and start applying his sayings. And I'm going to tell you the Spirit of truth will come to you and testify to you about him, because you choose him over the world. My Father's just waiting for you to do it. How many Christians have been Christian for 20 years and they couldn't tell you any of the things Christ said? They can tell you all about Paul, but nothing about Christ. And on the last day, Christ ain't your judge, friend. It's the words of Christ. Because you didn't have them. Like I said, the Pope stole them from you, the Catholic Church, but now you have them back. He can judge you, and he told you right in the Bible that he was going to. So therefore, now you know that his words judge you. So you're going to need to get oil for your lamp. I've been telling you that this is coming. And most of you don't want to believe. And I don't blame you. I don't want to believe it either, except my father showed it to me. He told me the walls we build to keep them out would be the walls that keep us in. And at the time, in 2008, they weren't building walls, friend. Everybody, including me, thought I was a lunatic because I started talking about God showing me different things. I didn't even tell people about that one. They were getting so distraught about the other things, I dare not say that, and I lost faith. And I couldn't even prove any of it. And then all of a sudden, everything I knew, God started showing up. You know, he also told me about the oil's going to cause problems. Well, you know that Oklahoma had a 5.0 earthquake when there was no fault line there from oil drilling. At least that's what the news said it was. They thought it was from oil drilling. So, you know, you can do whatever you want. You can think whatever you want. You don't have to believe a word I say. But if you go look at the things in the documentaries I've told you, you can see that what's coming is coming. There is no way around this. Go watch Hulu and watch the documentary The Grab. There is no way around this, friend. The famines are coming and we're going to kill each other for water. It's just a fact. If you watch that video and you see how clearly they are telling you that, you know that World War III is on its way. It doesn't matter what's going on. I mean, it told you right in the Bible it was going to happen, but now you can see the groundwork's already laid for it. The Bible is true. The Euphrates River is a good bit dried up, right? 60% dried up or something. But it's all behind dams, so there's spots that armies could cross over. There's spots that have gotten so low, old cities have emerged from the river. And now people are doing like archaeological digs where the river used to be. And there's caves that showed up. So if there were 4 angels, or if it's just a sign of the times, either way, you would know that angels could get out those tunnels. And therefore, the sign of the times is here. And those of you that are sleeping, I highly suggest you get a red letter edition of the Bible and you get to know your king. Because if you don't, you are going to have, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it into the wedding. You're going to wait until it's too late. And if you've heard me, you've had an opportunity. And because I told you the truth and you heard it, you are accountable. I am the messenger that came to tell you. And once I've told you, once you've heard the truth either sets you free or it doesn't. But my Father doesn't make that. It's your free will choice. You go read them or not. You don't have to be real smart to do this. They've got the words in red. You can listen to them on podcast. They've got literal videos, word for word, out of the Bible, the 4 Gospels. And I highly recommend you read the letters to the churches because Revelation revealed things in the words in red that the church refuses to look at. I talk to Christians and I show them the truth and they still call it a lie because it doesn't fit into their box. They think they trapped God in a box. They trapped nothing but themselves. My Father is so great, you can't put him in a box. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Everything is done by the Father. There is no one like the Father. And Jesus told you the truth, and the church called him a liar. And it's not my fault. It's not Christ's fault. It's not my Father's fault. It's a bunch of people that wanted to glorify themselves, and they refused to admit that they can't see the truth. But in order to receive the glory, they have to tell you they have the truth. Don't give them any glory, friend. Don't call me good teacher. There's only one that's good. That's God. You know why I know that? Because my king said it. And if he said it and I'm to be like him, well, then I have to be less, not more. So therefore, the more glory I take, the more likelihood I am to fall to Satan, which is pride and selfishness and fear. So I take as little as possible, try to give it all to my Father, and any moment I take it by accident, I go, Lord, forgive me for I know not what I do. And then he forgives me because Christ died on the cross to give me that right. And I get Christians on here that will chew me up on one side and down the other because I'm not just telling them that Jesus died on the cross for them. Those folks have no interest in the kingdom, and my message scares them because they are so unknowledgeable about their Savior that they are completely unready for the wedding. They have not cleaned their garments. You make fun of me, you can trash me, I don't care, friend. I'm carrying a white stone and nobody knows my name is on it but myself. How about you? Are you carrying a white stone? Do you know that your name's on it? Because nobody else can tell you. I can't tell you. My Father, He knows your thoughts, your heart. He knows the truth of you. You can be a snake like I used to be and do your dark stuff in the darkness and then look good in the light. That's what I used to do. I'm telling you myself, I was a snake. I ain't denying it. I'm the son of perdition. What do you want me to tell you? Lie? No, I'm telling you the truth. I was a serpent. I was always saying this and then doing that, but I was doing it in the darkness, right? I was trying to impress you all, and then I was out sneaking around watching porn, going to sex club, treating women like whores. I'm not lying to you. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to lie to you and sound like I'm righteous? The son of perdition does no such thing. He's the counterfeit Christ because he's willing to die in order to live. You will not steal my Father's creation from him. So I will drag the dragon back into the abyss from which it came. And you Christians are going to do the same. Or you're going to pay your debt for what you've done. Because you are, those of you that your stocks have become your bonds, you are the ones that are killing these kids with all the things the corporations are doing, because they're doing it for you. I promise you, if you go to the CEO, he'll say, it's not my fault. The stockholders made me do it. Oh yeah, well, you've got a system of no accountability. My Father's holding you accountable. Christian nation, you will be held accountable. Ain't no lie here, friend. You did all this in my Father's name. So I hope you're going to go read what Jesus said before it's too late and change your mind. I'm not telling you, if you put Satan back on his leash, get him out of your government so that your government could actually do something for you. You let them buy stocks. Your politicians are sons of Satan. They're sons of selfishness. They've sold all your kids out for their stock money. How is it that you have multi-million-dollar politicians when they don't get a big salary? Do you understand that's insider trading? And they will trade your children's lives for their money every time. And if you let them do it, my Father's going to let you suffer for it. Because you're going to pour the first cup, he's going to pour you the second. And it will go down as written. And the sun will become like sackcloth, and you will be covered in ash. I've been trying to give you warning so you'd repent, but nobody wants to listen. I don't blame you. I don't even want you to listen, to be quite honest with you, because the more of you that hear me, the quicker I go to my cross, right? You can see that I'm going to end up on Satan's altar. There's no way that a publicly traded corporation, those dragon riders, are going to ever let me survive this message. Unless my Father literally creates a miracle. He did make me put myself on the altar in advance, so there is the possibility that maybe I get out on some sort of rapture before it's all over. But then on the other hand, I might not. I might go on Satan's altar, but it doesn't matter. You will not steal my Father's creation from him. I was with him in the beginning. In the beginning, there was only God. You will not take this from him. Not you Christians. No. You will not enter his kingdom while you worship Satan. No, you will not. I am here to see to it that you will not worship Satan while you condemn your children and your neighbor's children to suffering because you've chose selfishness over love. So now is the time to choose Christ, because your time is at hand, friend. Decisions are going to get made. I am here to raise riders, and they are right now mounting. They were in the wilderness listening. They've been listening to what I was saying. Riders are mounting. You're not going to have a choice. You're going to have to pick a horse. Nobody sits on the fence in this round, friend. And I don't want to do this. It's the promise I made my Father. You will not take his creation from him. You'll hate me, but my Father will love me for it because I'm doing his will because he showed me it was. It's ridiculous. I just listened to a video yesterday of some woman on the Tucker Carlson interview that talked about this, that everybody knows that this is going on, but nobody's willing to trade their selfishness for it. If you're going to let your neighbor suffer, you are going to suffer with them. If you're not going to do something to change the world, if you're going to be grace and grace alone and not read a thing Jesus said, then you're dead seed, and dead seed doesn't get harvested. You're the chaff that's going to blow away in the wind. You're the one that woke up with no oil in their lamp. Do you get that? Every parable he ever said, he told you the truth, and the church calls him a liar. You better get to reading him, and I mean right now. I do love you, and that's the reason I'm telling you this. And because I tell you, they'll kill me for it. But you know what? I love you enough that I'll be your counterfeit Christ. I don't want to die. I just have to be willing. Christ didn't want to die. He was just willing. How about you? You don't have to want to die. Are you willing? Did you get to know that man at all? Friend, know I love you because my Father loves you. May God bless you and yours.